All right, boys and girls, today we are reading chapter 23 of Bernice Buttman, A Nun For Real. The next few weeks went by in a blur of planning and training. It was my job to contact all the local organizations or businesses that might want to participate in Action Movie Night. Halfway only had one dance studio, but they agreed to come up with a guns blazin' tap routine, whatever that meant. The martial arts group, which met on Saturday mornings in the back of Halfway's hardware store, also agreed to do a demonstration. They promised lots of boards breaking and bricks crumbling. I knew Imogene went to the dance class, but I had my fingers crossed that we wouldn't run into each other too much during the event. Francie yammered on about her karate and said her parents already planned on buying 2 tickets, plus 4 more for her grandparents. At $5 a pop, that was a nice chunk of change, for the nuns, of course. Kids came up to me at school in the halfways and on the playground, letting me know they'd be performing with their acting class or they'd be doing a demonstration with their archery club. It seemed that word had spread, and St. Drago's Action Movie Night was going to be a walloping success. Nothing felt lighter at church on that snowy January Sunday. It was the same old people and the same old Bible reading, but there was also something shiny in the air, just out of reach. I think it might have been hope. Even though no one mentioned the fundraiser during the service, I knew the nuns had told everyone the plan. It was either sell tickets to this thing or stop being Catholic. I think most people were on board. I couldn't wait to get out of the stuffy sanctuary and work on more of the details. So far, we had 15 demonstrations signed up, which was 12 more than I'd expected. The event would be held on the church property, so we didn't need any kind of special permits or licenses. The Halfway High School band was even going to learn a mashup action movie theme song. Several of the town's restaurants had mentioned they'd set up food booths. Things were going so well, I should have known Mama would show up. She banged on the door of the sanctuary while Father Wilson was still giving his talk. Everyone jumped a mile high because we were half asleep. Aunt Josephine bolted over to the door and slipped out. Her and I knew exactly who was on the other side of that door, and she was the only one running to say hello. Sister Angela Clarence leaned over and whispered, "Let the wild rumpus start," right in my ear hole, and it sent shivers all the way down my spine. Father Wilson stumbled around for a few seconds before picking up where he left off. To be real honest, he could have been telling us to somersault in our underwear, and I wouldn't have known the difference. Mama wasn't halfway. She was right outside. Now the real question was, what did she want? The Father asked us to rise and then blessed us to go do the Lord's work, waving his arm in the air in the shape of a big old X. A very large woman, Gertie Mills, got up to the organ to sing and play. Her voice warbled off the walls and ceiling, hitting a few sour notes here and there, but generally coming from an agreeable place. Mama burst through the doors with Aunt Josephine hot on her tail. "Bernice, honey, let's get out of here. I'm going to take you out for some fried chicken." Everyone spun around in the pews to look at me, to to look at Mama, to see the matching set, her and I. The singer paused long enough to determine it was still her turn and then blared on. "Church was just finishing up, Carlene," Aunt Josephine whispered fiercely. "Bernice don't care about church," Mama said with a smirk. I slumped down in my pew, wishing I could melt away. I hadn't seen her in months, but I sure wasn't about to go running to her arms. She didn't care about interrupting Father Wilson's homily, that's the word for a Catholic sermon, I'd Googled it, or ruining Miss Gertie's singing, and I can tell you for sure she didn't mind embarrassing me. It would be quicker and easier to give her what she wanted, so I ducked out without looking at anyone. I wouldn't be standing with the sisters at the end of the service saying goodbye to everyone. I wouldn't shake their hands or tell them I'd see them next week. It made me feel droopier than Sue Ellen Fester's skin after her weight loss surgery. As soon as we were outside and the double doors had slammed behind us, I turned on her. "What are you doing here?" "Now, is that any way to greet your Mama?" She leaned in, and I couldn't take my eyes off a huge hunk of brown stuck between her two front teeth. "Haven't seen you in months, child. Come give me some sugar." I let her squish me in a stiff hug, but I kept remembering the day she'd found out about Farkle and how she'd squeezed my arm and made me cry. I felt like crying again. "Isn't anyone feeding you here? You shrunk." I looked down, and sure enough, I could see my own 2 feet. I guess all these ham sammies and horse riding lessons had whittled my waist. I shrugged. I eat just fine. Aunt Josephine doesn't buy cheese balls, though, or soda. Don't miss it as much as I thought I would. Look at you, living like a woman of the cloth. Did they got you praying 10 times a day and shining up their crucifixes? I pulled my ear. Everything's a joke to her. I always feel like she's making fun of me one way or another. It's fine, Mama. I don't mind it. Why are you here? She straightened up. I've come to fetch you. California didn't work out for Lloyd and me. We decided to come home to our people. Home. The word rattled in my brain. Where was home? Back to the trailer with my rowdy brothers and my musty couch bed? Back to a school where I was just a big bully? Back to eating cheese balls out of the tub by my lonesome on a Sunday morning? What if I don't want to come with you? I said it quietly, testing the waters. Mama's laugh boomed. What are you talking about? You don't want to come? You want to live here forever? You gonna become a nun for real? Oh my Lord. I gotta call Lloyd. He will not believe they turned you into a real nun. I let out a long breath in the form of a raspberry. No, I don't want to stay forever, but maybe a few more months. I've been working on this project to help the nuns. Mama's laugh erupted again. Helping the nuns? Don't suppose the nuns want help from a near to do near near do well like you. My chin jutted out. I am helping them. I'm planning an event to help them raise money so they can pay off their debts. Everything's going great. I just need more time. She shook her head and let out a low tisking sound. You always could get people to part ways with their money. When is this event? It's in April. All right, Bernice, I'll see you then. Make sure your halo is nice and shiny when I drag your butt back to the Lone Star. I watched Mama's wide backside retreat down the sidewalk, and I wish action movie night was a whole year away. Oh, goodness gracious.